Hey YouTube, this is the Tiger95, and today I'm going to be doing my Stanley Cup playoff predictions, as well as talking about a little bit of the history. I've been pretty busy with work recently, so I didn't get as much time to put into research for this as I would have liked. So there's a lot of history that I'm going to be talking about, but like stats from this year and stuff, I'm not really going to be including, so my predictions aren't going to be as based off of that so much. They will be for the most part, and a couple of the predictions you'll see are going to be really biased because I just want the teams to win. But I'm gonna go in depth for all of them, and then I'm gonna do. This is mostly gonna be first round. I will talk who I want to see go head to head at the end and who I want to win, or who I think is gonna win. But I'm gonna be doing every round. I'm gonna be doing another video, talking pretty much more in depth about the teams as they go and so on. So first of all, I'll start off with Chicago and Nashville. So Chicago, this is their 62nd, playoff appearance since the team was created in 1926. They've won 6 Stanley Cups. 3 of them have been in the last 7 years, so they are a really, really strong team right now. And they're going up against Nashville, who has seen 9 playoff appearances since their creation in 1998, so this is their 10th. And the history between the two, they have met twice before, and both times Chicago has won 4-2 in the series. And my prediction for this series is I think it's going to go the same way. I think Chicago is going to take this game in 6 games, if not 7 maybe. So next is Minnesota and St. Louis. So Minnesota, this is their 8th playoff appearance since they were created in 2000. And for St. Louis, this is their 41st since they've been around since 1967. They've met once before, and the Blues won that series 4-2. I think the Blues are going to win this series again, but I think it's going to be very close. I think it's going to be a Game 7 for this one. And honestly, I could see this going either way. I'm giving St. Louis the edge in this one. Next is Anaheim versus Calgary. Anaheim has been around since 1993, and this is their 13th playoff appearance. Calgary had joined the NHL in 1980. They existed before that in the World Hockey Association. But since they've come into the NHL, they've seen 20 playoff appearances, and both teams have won a cup. They've met twice before. Anaheim has won both series. One of them was 4-1, and one of them was 4-3. And I think it's a safe bet to say again that Anaheim is going to win the series, and I'm guessing that they're going to do it in 5 games. So the last in the West is Edmonton versus San Jose. Edmonton came to the NHL in 1979. They were created in 1972. Like Calgary, they were in the World Hockey Association. They've seen 20 playoff appearances. None of them, their last one was in 2006. So it's been a very long time, and they have 5 cups under their belt. San Jose has seen 18 playoff appearances since their induction in 1991, so this is their 19th. They've met once before, and that was in the Oilers' last playoff appearance ever, and the Oilers won that series 4-2. I think this is going to be a really, really close one. I'm hoping, this one I'm kind of hoping for. I could see San Jose winning it in 7, but I'm going to give the edge to, I'm going to give the edge to Edmonton in 7 games, because that one's like a really, I want Edmonton to win that series. I wouldn't mind either way, but I'm giving the edge to Edmonton just for my personal preference. And that's what all these are. These are all just my personal feelings, kind of who I want to win, who I think is going to win. So if I'm completely wrong and you think something else, then let me know in the comments. But these are just my opinions. I'm not saying these teams are going to win for sure. These are my predictions. So on to the East Coast now. The Canadiens and the Rangers facing off, and that's an original 6 face-off. So these two teams have met the most amount of times. The Canadiens are the oldest team in the league. They've been around since 1909, before the NHL, back when it was the National Hockey Association. The NHL was created in 1917. The Canadiens have 24 cups under their belt. One of those was won in the National Hockey Association. And they have 83 playoff appearances If you include the National Hockey Association playoff appearances, they have 3 more to make it 86. The Rangers have been around since 1926. They've had 58 playoff appearances, so this is 59 for them, and they have won 4 Stanley Cups. This is the 16th time that these two teams are going to be meeting. So in their last 15 meetings, the Habs have won 7 times and the Rangers have won 8. That being said, though, I hate to say it, but I think that the Canadiens are going to win it, and I'm saying it's going to be in 6 games, as long as they have Carey Price. If he gets injured for whatever reason, or they don't play him, then I think the Rangers would win it. No problem. That's my opinion. So on to Ottawa and Boston. Ottawa's been around since 1992, and this is their 16th playoff appearance. Boston has been around since 1924. They're one of the original 6 teams, so this is playoff number 70, their 70th playoff appearance. And Boston has 6 cups under the belt. And this is the first time that these two teams are going to be meeting in the playoffs. Despite Boston having won a lot of Stanley Cups in the past, I think that Ottawa's going to knock them out. I think it's going to be in 5 games. So on to my team, the Capitals versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs are obviously my team. The Capitals have been around since 1974 and have been in 26 playoff appearances before, so this is 27 for them. The Leafs have been around since 1917. This is playoff appearance number 66 for them. They have 13 cups under their belt, the last one being won in 1967, so it has been a very long time. And this is only their second playoff appearance since the lockout in 04-05, which they didn't make it past the first round. They played Boston. And this is the first meeting of these two teams in the playoffs. So my realistic guess for this is that the Capitals are going to win it in 5 games, but because Toronto's my team and because I want to believe in them, and because these are my playoff predictions, I'm going to say that Toronto's going to win it in 7 games. And for the last appearance, and I think this is going to be one of the most intense appearances, or one of the more intense series, is Pittsburgh versus Columbus. I saw a Pittsburgh-Columbus game a couple years ago, and both the teams are really close to each other geographically, so there's a pretty big rivalry between the two. So I think it's going to be a really, really interesting series. Pittsburgh's been around since 1967. This is their 32nd playoff appearance. They've won 4 Stanley Cups. 2 of them have been in the last 10 years, and they haven't missed a playoff series since 2007. 2006-2007. And Columbus has been around since 2000. This is only their 3rd playoff appearance before, and this is the best season that they've ever had. The last time the Pens and Columbus met, the Penguins won 4-2. I think, though, that this time Columbus is going to win it, but I think it's going to take them 7 games. So that's my first round guesses. So now I'm just going to really quickly just kind of go through. I'm not going to say number of games or anything for the last ones because it's all just kind of hypothetical at this point. But if my playoff predictions are completely correct for what I've said, then Chicago would be facing off against Edmonton. Sorry about that again. Which I think that just for the sake of what I want to see, Chicago would face off against St. Louis. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. Chicago would face off against St. Louis, in which case, like I said, Chicago would win. And Anaheim would face off against Edmonton, which I think Edmonton could win it. At least I want them to win. In which case Chicago would go up against Edmonton. So Edmonton is my choice to win the Western Conference. For the Eastern Conference, the Canadiens would be facing the Ottawa Senators, which I think the Canadiens would win against them. Toronto would face Columbus, which I really want Toronto to make it through, especially for my who I want to see in the Stanley Cup Finals. So I would say Toronto would best Columbus, and then Toronto versus Montreal I think would be a super awesome series to see, and I really want to see Toronto win that if that happens. So if that does, what I really want to see for the Stanley Cup playoffs is I really want to see the Toronto Maple Leafs facing off against the Edmonton Oilers. And why I really want to see that is because I think it would be the two best rookies from the last year, Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid, facing off, two completely new, fresh, young teams, very little playoff experience, with just some very good talent. I think it would make for an amazing game, an amazing series, and I think it would be awesome for all the players on all the teams just to even make it that far. Especially, I think, for Connor McDavid, Toronto's his home team. I think facing them in the Stanley Cup playoffs would be a super special, awesome thing for his career. I think it would be, if Edmonton and Toronto were to face off in these Stanley Cups, I think it would be one of the best series that we've had in a very long time. And despite the fact that I really want Toronto to win, I think that if that were to happen, Edmonton would win the Stanley Cup. So that's my thoughts, predictions right now. I'd really love to see Toronto Edmonton in the finals. That's just what I want to see. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's really what I want to see. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your predictions are, who you think is going to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs, who you think is going to win it all. And even if everything in the East doesn't happen, I still think that Edmonton has a pretty good shot at the Stanley Cup this year. But either way, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the history and me talking about the history and stuff like that, then let me know. If you guys want to see more or like hear more history of hockey and stuff like that, then let me know that too, because I can make up more videos about that. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope your teams win, whoever you're cheering for. And I hope you guys just enjoy the Stanley Cup playoffs as much as I hope I do. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.